Here we are on this first Feel Good Friday for our new Pilates movement year. This whole week we've been taking it very gently as we move through some basics, foundational work. Again, it's always good to start basic at the beginning of the year and then build on our foundations. So for the previous two online mat classes, we've started seated. For today, we're going to be starting standing. Also, because my body's feeling a lot better. Remember on Sunday, I nearly killed myself doing some ancient contemporary dance moves that I haven't done in 15 years. So the body went into a complete and utter shock. But I am happy to say that through movement and through doing our Pilates easily, gently going back to basics, and it's feeling so much better today. So the secret again is don't stop moving. All right, let us begin with our legs and feet in parallel, right underneath the front hip bones. Feel this beautiful axial elongation from your ear-jaw junction. Relax the arms, feel those collarbones stretching nice and wide, easy, gentle arms, still with the elbows lengthened, a little bit of air under those armpits, the back of our head, the back of our rib cage, and the back of the pelvis are against our imaginary walls. Lift the toes, spread the toes, put them down without letting the fingers come to the party. So lift those toes, spread the toes, place them down. Lift your toes, spread the toes, place them down. Let's do two more. Lift all the toes, spread the toes, place them down. And one more. Lift the toes, spread the toes, place them down. Maintaining that beautiful upward feeling of suspension and length, lean forwards towards the toes and lean backwards towards the space behind you. And here we have Mishi just coming into our class. Lean forwards, lean backwards, lean forwards, lean backwards. Woo! And if the toes lift and your heels lift, so be it. What's important is that the entire body as one unit moves forward and everything leans back. So even though we're leaning forwards and backwards, you're still visualizing those 3 points in contact with your wall, the back of your head, the back of your rib cage, and the back of your pelvis. So the whole body is moving as though a giant hand has come on top of our heads and enabled us to lean forwards and backwards. And just notice what you feel in the body as you lean forwards. Which areas do you feel? And notice what you feel when you lean backwards. What do you feel more when you lean backwards? Pardon me. And then bring it back to the middle. Same thing, but we're going to lean over to the side, like one of those Michael Jackson music videos. Have you ever seen how far that man can lean? Woo! And if the sides of the feet lift here, that's fine. Just exploring how far you can lean over to one side, how far you can lean over to the other side whilst maintaining your balance. And then also notice where you're feeling this in the body as you lean side to side. Woo! Joyride. Bring it back to the middle. And then we incorporate a stirring sensation movement. As we just go in one direction. Three more in the same direction. And then let's reverse. The way. 1, 2, 3 more here. And 2. And 1. Bring it back to the middle. Spread the toes again with conscious spreading the space between each little toe pad. Inhale as you rise up. Exhale as you lower down. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower. We add on some arm pulses. Inhale, we pulse 1 and lower the heels, adding on as we go along. Inhale, pulse 2 and gently lower. Breathe in, pulse 4, 3, 2, 1, and gently lower. And these legs are super long and straight. Inhale up, 4, 3, 2, 1, and gently lower, simultaneously lowering the feet, heels. Breathe in, pulse for 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and gently lower. Rising up, breathing it in, and pulse. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and gently float down. 2 more sets as we breathe in, backs of the thighs, pressing behind you with a little more commitment. We go 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and gently lower. And last set as we inhale, broken forward, and pulse. 8, 7, 6, woo, 5, woo, 4, 3, 2, 1, woo! Epic fail on my part. Good. So give the legs a little bit of a shake out. Bring it back to the parallel alignment. Woo, it's like Swahili Thursdays, except it's Friday, and there's a missing connection between my brain and what's coming out of my mouth. Take a lovely deep inhale as you reach the arms up. Exhale as you place the hands at the back of your head. Nestle the back of your head into your hands. Keep your elbows into your peripheral vision. But again, just a quick check-in. Back of the head, back of the ribs, back of the pelvis. Those 3 points you can feel against your imaginary upright wall. Take a lovely breath in. As you breathe out, a half roll down. So you're going to curl, peel your head, the shoulders, and the top of your rib cage away from your wall. And then use the energy as the back of the head grows tall, and we restack to an upright standing position. Breathing it in, smile, and exhale as you round over your sternum. You're creating a C shape coming forward. And the pelvis stays exactly where it is in its upright position. Breathe in. Start breathing out. Round forward over your sternum. And restack. Back to upright. This time taking it all the way down. You can bend your knees a little bit if you feel that that's appropriate. Breathing out. Once you can't go any more with your halfway roll down, we start lifting and wheeling the pelvis up and over those thigh bones. And we roll all the way down. But see whether you can shift your shoulder blades with a little movement out and in. You're thinking of extending the elbows a little longer. But find some place in the middle. Take a breath in. Exhale as you uncurl. Send energy forwards with the pelvis. And then we reset. We go again. Breathing in. Breathe out as you curl to knot. Good. If you need to bend your knees a little here, bend your knees. Let the pelvis come up and over those legs forwards. The bottom ribs are still rolled under. You're in an upside down U shape. So you can picture that U shape standing, and exhale as you uncurl. Get your pelvis upright, right above the heels. And then the rest of the body is beautifully set to uncurl. One more. Take a breath in. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4. Keeping body weight forwards over the toes. Hold. Inhale. Exhale. Come all the way up. 2. Pelvis upright. Then the ribs come above the pelvis, and then that hips. Release those arms. Let's swing out, swing in, swing out, swing in. Just get a little bit of buoyancy in those knees. You're still suspended with that beautiful TheraBand in the sky. Buoyant, free, light, easy, and breezy. Swing, swing, swing. Breathe in for 2 counts, breathe out for 2 counts. Breathe in, breathe out, and the back of your pelvis is just sliding up and down your imaginary wall. So it's staying in its upright position. There's no funky rock and roll business happening in the pelvis pelvis. Just easy out, easy in with the arms. 4 more, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. And reach those arms up and gently allow them to float down. Super. We're going to get into quadruped. I'm going to adjust the angle slightly and see whether we're still in the framework for filming. Perfect. All right. So I'm just going to move this a little closer. I can be closer to you all. And then head on down to your mat in whichever way feels easiest for you. And let's head into our quadruped position. Morning, Kiko. You can be? Yeah. Okay. So before we begin, let's just go through the setup again. Hands directly underneath the shoulders, vertical arms, knees underneath each hip bone, vertical thighs. Spread those fingers. If you need to fold your mat double, put your hand half on, half off to help assist any discomfort in the wrists. Feel free to do so. Alrighty, just take a moment to worm and squirm a little bit here. Maybe sink into the shoulders, maybe come out. And just give the body an opportunity and give yourself the opportunity to find your ideal 4-point kneeling position. Okay, Snuggles, we have to work now, so no more going backstage. All right. Finding that beautiful length. So the same principles apply here in quadruped. There's that lovely elongation out through the head and the neck, a lovely length through the coccyx and tailbone, coccyx/tailbone behind you, back of the head, back of the rib cage, back of your pelvis, would all be felt along your foam roller or your broomstick if you had that balancing on your body. Take a lovely breath in. As you breathe out, just the pelvis is going to roll underneath you, nothing else. And release and lengthen your pelvis back out long. Pelvis rolls underneath you and release. It's like a little tilt that we would do lying supine, except now we're in quadruped. Roll the tailbone under, lengthen your tailbone out long, and nothing else is coming to the party just yet. Roll your tailbone and pelvis underneath you. So you're really trying to get a downward angle with the pelvis under your body, and release and lengthen it out long. Taking it a little higher, we roll the pelvis under. We allow the bottom ribs to come to the party a little more, and then release and lengthen tailbone out long. Inhaling, exhale, pelvis rolls. We feel the ribs opening a little bit more here in the back, and the bottom ribs rolling under and up a little higher, and release. Lengthen out long, one more, breathing in. As we breathe out, pelvis rolls underneath. Bottom ribs come to the party a little bit. Still strong arms, purposeful placement of the fingers, beautifully spread. And release and lengthen. So you're trickling that water droplet down to rest in the hollow of your back. Taking it all the way up to the top, breathe it in. Start breathing out. Feel your pelvis roll under smoothly. And then we're focusing on that sternum bone that is being lifted up towards the ceiling and sky, up through the space between your shoulder blades, and release the head and the pelvis out, away from each other smoothly, easy, and there we go. 2 more like that. Breathe it in, exhale. Sternum is the feature focal point, really threading its energy up through the space between your shoulder blades, And release. One more, breathing it in. Exhale as we round. And lengthen it out. From there, just focusing on the top half of the sternum bone and more of the upper back area, the space between your shoulders and shoulder blades. Inhale to prepare, and as you breathe out, you feel as though you're stretching your sternum, curling it upwards. Stretch the sternum in all four directions. So it feels like your sternum is going like this and like this, and it's opening up into an upward curl with the upper back only. Let's do two more like that. Breathe it in. Start breathing out. Feel as though you're drawing your wrists to the knees. The lower back stays level in its neutral, natural curve placement. And bring the sternum back. One more, breathe it in. As we breathe out, pelvis stays level, sternum stretches, top down, right, left. Feel the wrists drawing to the knees. And then bring your body back. Good, tuck the toes, float your pelvis to the feet. Being able to balance a book or your cup of tea here, the bottom ribs have lifted up, so they're consciously being lifted away from your clothing in the front. Tap the toes for a little toe neck stretch, and then bring your body forward. We inhale to glide back. Exhale, draw wrists to knees, knees to wrists. Inhale, glide back. Exhale forwards, and we're going back to be mindful of our little snail shells here at the hip crease, which we don't want to squish. So you're trying to keep the space for your snail shells at your hip crease as you glide your body back. Exhale forwards. Two more. Inhale, glide back. Exhale forwards. And one more. Inhale, glide back. Exhale forwards. Take a little inhale, and then as you start breathing out, float your knees. I'm just going to adjust my hands to a better placement. Exhale, hover the knees. You're still balancing your foam roller along the length of your spine and vertically. You can feel the back of your head, the back of your ribs, and the back of your sacrum pelvis area making contact with the roller. The ribs underneath you have lifted. Hold. 8, 7, 6, and 5. Smile. 4, 3, 2, 1. And gently lower your knees with control. Open the knees. Sit back into a gentle rest position. Snuggles, no mommy. Snuggles. Lots of scratching here. It's like they're in attack mode right now, my dogs. Attack mode is happening. Painful attack mode. All right, keep the pelvis weighted onto those heels. If this doesn't feel comfortable for your knees, just roll over onto your back and hug your knees into your chest. But for now, weight your pelvis. Really important that we focus on weighting this pelvis down to our heels. Breathe it in. And then gently we're going to walk the hands back. Pelvis is already set in its upright placement. All we need to do is bring the ribs back up, and then the upper body head and shoulders. So the ribs, kind of like a lampshade over the pelvis. That helps with the visualization. Okay, so the only prop we'll be needing today would be a little bolster cushion or a folded towel, a towel folded double, that can work. And let's head on down to our mats. Good, and let's get comfortable here. So today we're going to add on with our pelvic press, pelvic bridge, pelvic curl series. We started earlier this week with our skateboarding, mobilization and lateralization in the mid-back a little bit more, mid-back and lower back. And today we're going to focus a little bit more on other movement possibilities within the pelvis and the spine. So let us begin by adjusting the cushion. You can see this is going to be one of those lessons where the kids are just very naughty. All right, so create space here at the top of your hip. Press those hands into your thighs and feel as though you've just made so much more space here at the top of your pelvis, at those hip crease, and release. Press hands strongly. So you're pressing your thighs out of your pelvis. And release. One more. Press. And gently release. Beautiful. Reorganizing so that you feel that you have space between your shoulder blades, space between your rib cage and the pelvis. Bring your heels in a little closer to your sit bones. And the collarbone stretching sideways and beyond as you place the arms down. Lengthen long straight elbows. Take a deep inhale. And first things first, exhale fully. And feel your whole body, the back of the head, the back of the rib cage, and the back of your pelvis sinking down even more into your mat. Inhale. This time as you breathe out, your sternum and ribs sink both down to the mat and down like you're pulling on a tight top down towards your pelvis. Pelvis tilts towards you, and we're going to roll it. Take it all the way up into that beautiful pelvis bridge. Sacrum sends energy up through the space between your hips. So you're thinking of that energy coming from underneath. It moves through the pubic bone and goes up to the sky. Breathe in. Exhale, sternum lowers down first to the space between your shoulder blades or onto your mat. You gently glide smoothly down through the bottom ribs. Then that space between your rib cage and the waistband of your pants. Then the waistband of your pants. And then we roll through the sacrum and the tailbone, just down long, last. One more in that slow motion. Breathe it in. Breathe out. Sternum down. Tilt the pelvis. Peel the pelvis. Keep rolling the tailbone underneath. Send it up high as you can go whilst maintaining sternum and ribs down and down. So we're creating that rib to back sandwich, lengthened long thighs. Send energy up from the sacrum and through the space between your hips, and exhale, sternum down, relaxed head, easy, bone by bone, lowering all the way down. And then the pelvis gets to release right at the end. We take it back up. 1, 2. Easy flow. Easy go. Back down. And we roll. 2, 3. Up and roll down. On this next bridge, we're going to take it up and hold it for a moment as we roll, peel, collarbones wide. We're going to take a moment here to just observe. Smiley face across the shoulders, smiley face across the face. Breathe it in. The right side of the pelvis, we're going to lower straight down to the mat. Right side of the pelvis comes back up. Left side of the pelvis lowers. Left side of the pelvis lifts. Right hip down to the mat. Right hip up. So even though we're creating this diagonal seesaw vibe across the pelvis, I want your thighs still to remain parallel, hip bone distance apart, hip width apart. So we get a little more angled motion happening here in the pelvis, lower and left. We're going to do 4 more. Right hip lowers, right hip lifts, left hip lowers, left hip lifts, right hip lowers, right hip lifts. And I like using my hands here as a tactile input. give my hips an idea about how much higher they could go. Once more each side. One more. Hold, breathe it in, and now we create that beautiful sideline figure of 8 with the pelvis. So if you actually wanted to take hold of your pelvis and with a manual input assist with creating your sideline figure of 8 shapes as you go down and down. Be mindful not to cut corners as you move lower and closer down to your mat, and voila, there we go. Good. Quickly draw the legs into your chest, stretch your legs, do whatever you need to do to find a little release from that series. Good thing I've got little spider legs here to adjust our lighting settings. And then bring your knees and feet a little closer. They're not together, they're just closer. So there's about an inch space between the knees, the feet, and the ankle bones. Arms relaxed down beside you. Open your right knee. Roll your pelvis towards that right leg. Roll your pelvis back down, and then bring your knee back. So we'll do that again slowly. Open the left knee this time. Roll your pelvis to the left. Roll your pelvis back down, and then bring the knee back. Again, right thigh bone opens. Roll your pelvis to the right side, and keep thinking of sending your left thigh bone longer away from you. It's still in line with your hip. Then roll the pelvis back to home, and inverted commas neutral, and bring your right thigh back. Open the left knee, roll the pelvis to the left side, roll the pelvis back, and bring the knee back. We go a little bit faster. Right thigh, roll, roll the pelvis back, thigh comes in. Left thigh, roll the pelvis back, and left thigh. Now this time, we're going to keep the pelvis still and just open the right thigh and bring it back. Open the right thigh. Again, I'm using my hands to help me keep both a mental focus and a physical input on where my hips are. Left thigh opens, left thigh closes. Right knee opens, right knee closes. Left, close, right, close. And so we start speeding it up. So we are taking those little Newton's balls. I think they're Newton's balls that you see on people's desks. Those little silver balls that go. Just say yes, you know what I mean. And so we're doing the same movement. Pelvis is still, and we go a little faster each time. And notice as we get faster, there's less range of movement. Faster, faster, faster. And notice whether you can feel anything else in the body. Pelvis is super still. Just the thighs are open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close. And stop. So what you could have felt was this amazing halo of the lower abdominal area in your body. I also felt some stabilization and some switching on here towards the lower part of the rib cage, along this area, as the tissues adapt to be able to facilitate that speedy. Okay, one more time. Good. So we continue. Interlacing the fingers, placing the hands underneath your head. I'm just going to move the cushion out. So you're lying centered on your mat. Double check that your elbows are in that Goldilocks position. You know Goldilocks? She gets to that seat and she has She first tests out her porridge and then she gets to that just right one, the one that's perfect. And the same thing for the positioning of our bones and alignment check-ins. So elbows too wide, too close, just right, somewhere in the middle. Breathing it in. As you breathe out, sternum and ribs sink down. They melt down and then some more. As you curl, hello chest lift, arms arc, use the arms and the fingers, come up a little higher. Adjust. Maybe you want to move some clothing, maybe you want to adjust some skin. Arms go up, hands behind your head, and then feel the weight of your head pressing into the hands and the hands pressing up as you release down. Breathe in. Really firmly interlace your fingers to create that supportive hammock-like structure for your head. Inhaling. Breathe out. Arc the arms. Round a little more. Look at your pubic bone. It is perfectly level. Arms up. Hands behind your head and release. Back down. We curl. Arc the arms. Around a little higher, arms up, hands behind your head, and release. Two more, coming up. So we're curling over. Hands, here your arms and hands have taken over the work, and your torso and stomach gets a little breather. Round a little more, arms up, hands behind your head, and release. One more. In. Breathe out. Round. Arc the arms. Round a little more. Keep it there. Pick up your right leg. Go to the outside of the ankle. Other hand on top. And stretch the bottom leg out long to the floor. You still have your snail shell in position. Outside hand to outside ankle. And this hand is really giving nice weight down as well as the leg pushing up into that hand. Here we go. And here we are. Single leg stretch position. Change. Hold. Let's see if we can improve this position. Round a little more. So you're using your arms to keep your body upright. You're lying equally on both sides of your rib cage and pelvis. Change. 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 And pelvis is long, it's weighted, it's still. Four more. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Woo! Hello. Gentle thigh bone circles. As we go around. And then reverse. Take the fingers at the backs of the thighs. So we're able to practice pressing the thighs into the fingers away from our bodies a little more. Press. So it gives a little bit of resistance as we move through the last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bravissimo. Good. Float right foot down, left foot down, roll over onto your sides. Bring your knees up in line with your hips. Let's do some restorative book opening. So you can choose. Maybe you want to keep your arm out long. I'm going to be interlacing the fingers, and feel free to join me on this one. Fingers interlace. So again, the same principles apply here. Back of the head, back of the rib cage, back of the pelvis. These front ribs have merged to the ribs behind you. There is an elongated long neck, so we haven't crunched the head, neck, and shoulders. It is open. Just move it right out of the way. Worm and squirm until you feel in your best side lying position. Knees in line with our hips. And for the first book opening, allowing our thighs to separate and move as we rotate to open. Exhale as we bring the knees back together, back facing front. Breathe in, let the thighs separate. See how far you can go. Remember, you're only moving within a comfortable zone. So if you're feeling anything niggling or not as cool as what it normally feels, just do less. Less is more. And bring the knees back. Now we're going to keep the knees and ankles together and allow the ribs to rotate and barrel roll towards the opposite side. You only go as far as what your knee and ankle placement will allow. A, they need to stay together. And B, you only go as far as what your body will allow. So these ribs here, so you're still thinking about your sternum bone coming away from your clothing. And then roll it all the way back. And we go. Inhale, open, hold it here. 3 inhale and exhales. And bring it back to the middle. Good. Coming up. Elegant transition over to the other side. So if we were in an in-person class, we would have just rolled over to face that way. But since we're working online, it's just easier for you to still see what I'm doing if I do a changeover opposite transition. Again, choices for sideline. You may not be able to get your hands here. There may be some funny little nigglies and stickies in the shoulder. So you have options. You can put your arm down, but then I need you to make sure your head is wonderfully supported with some cushions. Otherwise, join me in interlacing the fingers, knees and feet together. Bring the feet slightly further forwards, shins. Here again, same principles. Sorry, fur and mouth. The back of the head, the back of the rib cage, and the back of the pelvis. Those 3 points you can feel against your imaginary wall of support. Long back of head and neck, so we have crunch forwards, and then we bring that elbow around. Worm and squirm a little bit more here. These bottom ribs have slightly lifted away from the mat, and let's open. The first rotation, book opening, allow your thighs to separate, and roll back. So we're thinking about the rib cage as the movement initiator. It starts the movement, and then exhale as we bring it all the way back. Inhale, let the thighs and the knees separate. Exhale, bring it back, keeping the knees and ankles together. Super good. We open. Upper body rotates to spiral. Only as far as what feels good for you, A, and B, only as far as what your knees and ankles will allow so that they can be stayed together. Stay together so that they can remain together. And release. Inhale, open. Exhale, back. And again, this time we're going to keep it in that open spiral rotation. And 3 deep inhale and exhale. Breathe in and out. And in and out. And in and out. And bring that elbow back. Ta-da! Staying on the side, just coming up to sideline on the elbow. Bend those knees. So today we'll have the underneath leg staying at 90-90. Elbow right underneath your shoulder. And let's just take a moment to stir the shoulder within its shoulder socket. Doesn't matter which direction you're going in because we can reverse it in a moment. And then stir your shoulder in that shoulder socket. And then let's get it into its little special slot. Shoulder rolls behind you. It's like a time. Lengthen the collarbone is flush here. Top leg reaches long. The underneath elbow feels as though it's drawing in towards your body. Back of the head, back of the rib cage, back of the pelvis. So I'm going to keep my hand here at the back of my pelvis for a little tactile input. These ribs have lifted. Beautiful long diagonal line. And we're going to swing forward and back with that. Forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward. Start with kick, 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 point, point, kick, kick, point, point, kick, kick, point, point, kick, kick, point, point. Keeping snail shells, so we've got a little space there that we're bringing the thigh bone around so we don't squishy that snail shell. Point, point, kick, kick, point, point, kick, kick, point, point, kick, kick. Flex leg, sorry, point, point, hold it there. Good. Lower the leg down. Bend the back knee. Turn the hand to face the edge of your mat. And so there we go. We're in C-sit. So if you wanted to sit on a bolster cushion to elevate your pelvis up a notch, feel free to sit on your cushion. You'll find that it gives a lot more space here on the side of the pelvis. I'm going to come off. It's one of my alignment and postural challenges that I need to work on is being able to find that lift and the space and availability within my hip socket so that we can feel both sits bones down. All right, so here we are in the Z-sit, and let's just do a little bit of hip mobilization. And you'll notice for me, I feel the tissues and some nice stretchy opening here on the opposite side of my hip, rib cage and torso as I'm rolling forwards, rolling back, roll forwards, roll back, 2 more, easy going. And now you can get a better idea of having both sits bones of equal weight into the floor. I'm just going to angle myself a little better. We're going to go straight out. Now that arm placement is exactly elbow directly under your shoulder and go straight into a nice mermaid as you come over. This whole upper arm is arcing over. So no broken chicken wings or ET fingers. A lengthened arc over. And again, as though you were sliding against the wall behind you. You are also in control of your knee and leg placement. So if it doesn't feel comfortable, move it so that it feels in a more suitable position for you. Hold it there, breathing it in, bring it out, bringing the knees together. So now we're getting knees together and we go into a Cleopatra position, allowing the ribs to circle. It's almost as though the rib cage is moving with us in this circular exploration of space. Reach, come over, circle, and you're using the opposite hand to hold onto your ankle and foot. Over, reach, see how far you can reach. Over, reach, over, reach. 2 more. And 1 more. Pretty picture, Kodak moment. Good, and bring the body upright. Lying onto the tummy. I haven't forgotten about side B. We'll come back to side lying here in a moment. A little basic back extension first. So we're going to practice our darts today. First things first, let's realign. The bottom ribs are in contact with your mat. You have walked your legs out of your waist. You settle the pubic bone so there's equal in the middle. So do some pelvic rolls, circles, tilts up, tilts down, and get your pelvis dead center in the middle in its curved neutral placement. So you feel weight down through the sacrum. The sacrum triangle is sending energy down and forwards through your pubic bone into the mat, as well as reaching down your legs towards the space between your heels. Hands, we're going to place the hands under the forehead, nestle the sternum down even more, roll your shoulder blades a little bit more behind you, so that in this lying position, you're still having somewhat smiley face across the front of your shoulders and behind you. If I were to draw a smiley face, the back of your shoulders, and a smiley face across the front. Take an inhale, breathe out, lick your sternum up the wall. See if you can stretch the belly skin a little more, make more space between your rib cage and your pelvis, and then drape your bones back down. Coming up, feel the elbows weighted into the floor, and drape down. One more like that, glide it up. But from there, we're just going to move positions there to there. So you're still hanging out in your bottom ribs. And just the arms are shifting. Whee! And careful that you're not throwing the head back. One of my nemesis that I have to focus on. Keep the hands there and drape the bones down. Heel the bones up. Still hanging out in the bottom ribs. Right hand to thigh, left hand to thigh, lower down. Keep straight arms, hands in contact with the sides of the thighs. Smiley face across the front and smiley face across the top of your shoulders. So smiley face here and smiley face here. Breathe out, sink your sternum down, and then we feel that sternum burn up and gently breathe down. Exhale, peel. Pelvis is still relaxed and weighted down and lower. Breathe out. And lower. Breathe out. And lower. Two more. Feel sternum burn. Come down. And one more. Hold it there. Turn the palms of the hands back. Little arm pumps up. Pump, 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 pump. Pump, pump, pump. Smile. Pump, 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 pump. 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. One ear down. Shift and shuffle. Just get a little bit of movement happening here to release. Do what feels good for you. And then float your head and let the ear go down to the opposite side. Good. Bring your head to the center. Little sharp fins. We're going to peel sternum, ribs, belly button, pubic bone, thighs, just like that. Ever so smoothly. Little rest break. Pelvis weighted to those heels. Breathing. Getting the breathing back to its natural rhythm. And then recovering. Swing the legs round. And we're on side B. So the elbow directly underneath the armpit. Knees are bent. And let us roll and stir that shoulder. So you're using the opposite hand to encourage a nice stir. Again, it doesn't matter what direction you're moving that stir in to begin with. And let's stir in another direction. And then we're going to stir it back into its position. One more time with that sound effect. Shoulders rolling behind you a little more. Shoulder blade definitely behind you in its back pocket. But long line, bottom ribs lifted, back of the head, back of the rib cage. Give it a little drum so you know where it is. And back of the pelvis. Those 3 points against our imaginary wall. Top leg lengthens, and you're feeling this beautiful upward reach and downward reach to the leg. I'm going to keep my hand here at the back of the pelvis just for a little tactile input because I don't want my pelvis to shift in a rock and roll Elvis style. We swing forward, swing back, swing forward, back. Front ribs have merged to the space behind your body. Swing, swing. You have a super straight leg, and you're bringing that thigh around that snail shell. So if you wanted to put 2 fingers here and make sure that you're not squishing those fingers, feel free to do so. Double, double, point, point. Kick, 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 kick. So we go. Kick, kick, point, point. Kick, kick, point, point. Kick, kick, point, point. Kick, kick, point, point. Stop. Lower the foot. Bend the knee. Change the hand. And up. If you need to use your cushion underneath your sit bones, please feel free to sit on a lifted, bolstered level to boost your pelvis. And then let's roll the pelvis forwards and back, and just notice whether something is opening on this side, whether you can feel an ease of movement and availability as we roll. Bringing it back. Notice now that you're able to sit more evenly on your sit bones, feeling that upward lift right from underneath your body, and we lower elbow down for a slightly slower movement. Elbow goes down, bearing in mind that you don't want to put your full weight down onto that supporting arm because you have to come back up. The elbow stays exactly where it is, not the elbow, the shoulder, in its placement. And over. Again, double checking in with your knees. Do they feel okay? Do you want to perhaps shift your body, shift the leg to make it more comfortable? Space. Think, space. And 3, 2, 1. Last side. Take it over. We're going to adjust to bring your knees and feet together. Heels a little bit more aligned in line with the pelvis. And over we go. Kodak moment for Cleopatra. Reaching around. So again, it's as though the rib cage is moving around like this, and we allow the arm to assist. Reach, over we go. Breathe in and up. Breathe in. Smile. Reach. Breathe in. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. And over that moment, breathe it in. Bring your body around. Shift the knees and the hips. Give the legs a little bit of a shake. Behind you. Good. Vertical arms, vertical knees, and vertical thighs. repositioned in our home placement. Breathe it in. Right leg out long. Feel as though you actually have a hand here and you're placing the back of your thigh up into your hand and your hand down into your thigh. Hold. Other leg joins. Feel your body stretching a little longer through the head, down through those legs, maybe even rock forwards and backwards. Back of the pelvis is balancing your glass of juice or cup of tea, and then gently. Knee lowers, you're still balancing your juice, and other leg down. Once more, we go. Start with the other leg. Hi, Buggy. So pelvis hasn't rocked up or down. It's super straight level. And then other leg joins. Rock forwards, backwards, bring it somewhere in the middle. And lower, lower, and come off those wrists. Give the wrists a little bit of a breather. A little bit of padding of the wrists. Good. Tuck your toes. Let's see whether we're able to roll through those feet and lower the heels down. Get a nice stretch. So you go to where you can go. Your heels are lifted. So be it. It'll take some time for the tissues to adapt into the length which we need. Every day, a little bit more. Rock back. Take an inhale. As you breathe out, the energy comes from behind the pelvis as we send the pelvis forwards. So the sacrum presses forward. We do that one more time. Breathe in and exhale. Up. Circle those arms. I'm going to adjust and just lift this back a notch so that we're in that frame. Good. So back up, reach the arms. And just take a little reach over, looking down at the armpit. And reach over. Bring the hands together, bend the knees. Just your knees and thighs are still pointing forwards. Press away diagonal as though you've hugged a large beach ball on one side. And then turning back. And we hug the large beach ball on the other side, but our knees and thighs are still shining forwards. Bring it. Release hands, let's swing. Swing, swing, catch. Swing, swing, catch. Swing, swing, catch. Shake out those arms. Jiggy out the legs. Bring it back to a place of strength and stillness. Breathe in and hold it out. That was supposed to be out. Lips are sticking. I just want to press stop. Well done, darlings. Well done.